Hey guys, it's Miss Richardson. Last week, a few of you reached out and we're having some trouble with division. So this week we do have more opportunities to practice division. So these first two problems, we're going to start with just dividing whole numbers. So always make sure that first number goes in the division box. And when you're dividing, that's when those multiplication facts are so important. All right. So then when you start to divide, you want to check one number at a time. Will 12 go into 8? No. How many times will 12 go into 85? So I know that 7 times 12 is 84. So let's multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 1 is 8. So when I subtract, I get a remainder of 1. All right, so then I get to bring down one digit. So 12 goes into 18 one time. So 1 times 12 is 12. When I subtract, bring down a 6. That's my, when I subtract, I get a remainder of 6. I get to bring down another digit. So that's 7. So I know that 12 times 5 is 60. So I'm going to put a 5 right here. 5 times 12 is 60. All right, so depending on which lessons you're doing, sometimes it asks you to write it, the whole number with the remainder. Okay, so I noticed that Florida Virtual did accept some answers like that. That's the only one I'm going to write the remainder. On the other problems, I'm going to write a decimal and keep bringing down zeros. Okay. All right, so anyway, let's try the next one. You guys try it and then start the video back up and check your answer. All right, so what did you guys get? So 2,745 divided by 9. So 9 won't go into 2, but it'll go into 27 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. I subtract and get 0. I get to bring down one number. After bringing down the number, since 9 won't go into 4, I have to put a 0 right above the 4. And now I get to bring down another digit. And I know that 9 goes into 45 exactly 5 times with no remainder. So my answer is 305. Good deal. Now let's start practicing some more with decimals. So that first number always goes in the box. So we're going to write 147 2/10 divided by 3 2/10. The number outside the box has to be a whole number, which means we're going to move that decimal over to one place to the right. We have to do that on the inside. So really what we're doing is dividing 32 into 1,472. So this is where estimation helps you. Well, if this was about 30, I know that 30 would go into 140 4 times, because 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to bring the 4 right above the 7. So 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. When I subtract, that becomes a 17. So 9, 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down that 2. All right, well, let's see. I know that 3 times 6 is 18. So I wonder if 6 times 32 might be our magic number. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. There we go. We don't have a remainder. So this is exactly 46. That's our answer. All right, you guys, at any time, I want you to pause the video, try them on your own, and then make sure your answers are right by checking the video. So we're dividing 6.4872 by 3.06. Our decimal comes over 2 places, 2 places. So really it's 648.72 divided by 306. Right? Did I write that down right? I think so. All right. So I know that 300 times 2 is 600. So let's try 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. And 2 times 3 is 6. When I subtract, I get 36. I get to bring down a 7. Make sure you bring that decimal straight up. So 306 will go into 367 once. 306. When I subtract, I get to bring down that 2. And let's see, we already know that 2 times 306 is 612. So we're going to use the 2 again. So 2 times 306 is 612. And we have no remainder. So our answer is 2 12/100. Excellent. All right, moving on. We have 1.48 divided by 2.5. Move that over once and this over once. So really it's 25 into 14.8. So obviously 25 won't go into 1 or 14, bring that decimal straight up. So you can leave that open in the front, or you could put a 0, it doesn't matter. And then we're thinking, how many times would 25 go into 148? Well, I know that 6 times 25, 6 quarters is $1.50, right? So 6 is going to be too much. I'm going to use a 5. 5 quarters is 125 cents. So 8 minus 5, 4 minus 2, I'm going to bring down a 0. So how many quarters would make $2? That'd be 8 plus 1, 9 quarters is 225 cents. So I get a remainder of 5, and 25 will go into 50 twice with a no remainder. So the answer is 0. Oh, I keep losing my pen, everybody. There we go. 0.592 is the answer. All right, that leads us down to the 6th one. So I'm going to put 7 on the inside. 1.75 outside, move it over 1, 2, 1, 2. So really we're putting 175 into 742. Here's our decimal at the end. So how many times would that go? This is almost 200. So almost 200 into 700. Let's try 3. 3 might be too small. Let's try it. That's sometimes with division, you got to guess and test. So 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. And then 3 times 1 is 3, 4, 5. I think that's going to be too small. So 12 minus 5 is 7, 3 minus 2 is 1, and 7 minus 5. Look, so if you ever get a remainder, when you subtract, if it's bigger than this number, that means this number on top is not big enough. And sometimes you just have to guess and test until you find the right number. So I'm going to not put 3, I'm going to put a 4 here. All righty. So let's try a 4 this time. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. And 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So when I subtract, I get 42. I'm going to bring down a 0. How many times will this go into this? I'm thinking about twice, I think. So 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1. And 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Yep. And then how many times? So I get to bring down a 0. How many times will 1? Look, there it is right there. 4. 4 times 175, we already figured out was 700. And our remainder is 0. So our answer is 4 and 24 hundredths. All right, I hope you guys are doing well. Now you have to pay attention, like I said, you have to pay attention to the directions. This one says to write your answer as a mixed number. So a mixed number is a whole number attached to a fraction, like 1.5. That's a mixed number, or 2 2/3, or 7 5/9. All those are mixed numbers, right? So we're not going to create a decimal. We're just going to take our remainder and it's going to become our numerator of our fraction. So for example, we're going to start with our division like we've been doing. So 12 won't go into 1, but 12 will go into 14 one time. So 1 times 12 is 12. I get 28. So I know that 2 times 4 is 24. So this is 24 with a remainder of 4. Bring down that 0. I know that 5 times 12 is 60. I know that 4 times 12 is 48. So this has to be 3. So 3 times 12 is 36. And I get a remainder of 4. Now, since the directions say to write as a mixed number, you take that remainder. So when you get to the end of your number where the decimal would be, you take that remainder, it becomes your numerator, and your divisor becomes the denominator. Now 4 over 3 can be simplified because we can divide 4 over 12 can be simplified because we can divide 4 and 12 both by 4. So that would be 1/3. So as a mixed number, my answer is 123 1/3. That's a mixed number. You take your remainder, it becomes your numerator right there, and your divisor becomes your denominator, and of course simplify it if you can. Okay. All right, I might need to practice a few of those, okay? All right, here's a word problem. If a string that's 15.5 inches long is cut into equal pieces that are 1.25 inches long, how many pieces of ribbon can be created? So basically, we're taking this long string and we are dividing it into pieces that are 1 1/4 inches long. So we have to move our decimal 1, 2 places. So 1, 2. So really we're dividing 125 into 1,550. So 125 will go into 155 once. Oh, that was ugly. With a remainder of 30. Then I bring down a 0. 125 will go into 30, what, twice? Maybe. Yeah, that'd be 250. Yep, 250 with a remainder of 50, and then 125 will go into 500. What? 4 times, let's see, 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10, and 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So how many pieces of ribbon? We could have 12.4 pieces of ribbon, or since it's a word problem and they want to know how many pieces of ribbon would be exactly 1.25 inches long, we would say 12 pieces of ribbon we could get that's this long out of material or a string that's that long. All right, so sometimes you have to round, especially with word problems. It just depends on the situation. All right, so finally, we're going to talk about dividing with fractions. So one thing you need to know about dividing with fractions, you have to know what a reciprocal is. So a reciprocal is basically what number would I multiply this number by to equal 1? Well, with fractions, to get the reciprocal, you're going to flip that fraction. So if I flip 5/6, the reciprocal is 6/5. Okay. If I flip 3/8, the reciprocal is 8/3. If I flip 1/3, I would get 3/1, but 3/1 can be simplified to just 3. And if I flip 4, well, any whole number has a denominator of 1 because 4 divided by 1 is 4. So if I flip for 4 or 4/1, I get 1/4. So those are all reciprocals. And why is that important? Because that's how you divide decimals. Did I just say decimals? I meant fractions. So dividing fractions, you must keep the first number, change the division sign to multiplication, and find the reciprocal of the second number. So instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken, we're going to think of Kentucky Chicken Fried, a little backwards. But it helps you remember KCF, and that means keep it, change it, flip it. So what does that look like? We're going to keep the first fraction. We're going to change that division to a multiplication symbol, and then we're going to flip 1/6 to 6/1. You can multiply straight across 6/2, and always simplify. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now another way, so anyway, the answer is 3, but let's pretend I simplified before I multiplied. You can simplify up and down and diagonally. So I'm going to take 6 and 2. I know I can divide 6 and 2 both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So then when I multiply straight across, I get 3/1, which is equal to 3. Okay, so you can simplify at the beginning or at the end. It's up to you. Now we're going to do 5/8. So we're going to keep it, change it, flip it. I prefer to always simplify before I multiply. I can simplify 2 and 8. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. Now all of these are proper fractions. When the numerator is smaller than the denominator, it's a proper fraction. Well, if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, it's an improper fraction. So we don't want to be improper. So the way to change improper fractions to mixed numbers is you divide the top number by the bottom number. How many times will 4 go into 5? It'll go 1 whole time, and then your remainder becomes your numerator, and your denominator never changes. So it's 1 1/4. All right, you guys try some if you feel so comfortable yet. If not, watch a few more, and then you guys can pause the video and try it on your own. All right, what are we going to do? We're going to keep it, change it, flip it. We can divide 4 and 8 both by 4. 4 divided by 4, 8 divided by 4. Now multiply straight across. 7 times 1, 2 times 1. How many times will 2 go into 7? It'll go 3 full times with a remainder of 1, and my denominator stays a 2. The next one, we're going to keep it, change it, flip it. I can simplify 5 and 10. 5 divided by 5, 10 divided by 5. When I multiply straight across, I get 4/3. 3 will go into 4 one time with 1 left over, and my denominator remains a 3. Next problem, I'm going to keep it, change it, flip it. Now, if you notice, nothing simplifies. 4 and 3 don't have common factors. 10 and 7 do not have common factors. So I multiply straight across. 4 times 10 is 40 over 21. How many times will 21 go into 40? 1 whole time with 19 left over, and that is simplified. The next one, keep it, change it, flip it. Nothing simplifies. 7 times 1, 6 times 4. I can't simplify that. 7 and 24 have no common factors. So my answer is 7/24. Hope you guys are doing good. The good thing about these videos, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause, rewind, so on and so forth. All right, let's try this one. We got 4/7 times 14/3. We can divide 7 and 14 by 7. So now multiply straight across. I get 8/3. How many times will 3 go into 8? 2 whole times with a remainder of 2. And my denominator stays a 3. And finally, the last one is keep it, change it, flip it. Nothing simplifies. So when I multiply straight across, I get 14/9. How many times will 9 go into 14? Once, with 5 left over, and that is my answer. All right, you guys, that's it. So I hope that helps you. If you guys need me, please let me know, and I will respond to you just as quickly as I can. I look forward to talking with you guys soon. Don't forget about my office hours this week. Drop by if you need to, and everyone have a great day.